Hello, thank you for stopping by today and learning about this activity interactive PD. We are here to support you as tech integrationists. I'm Angela, and if you've never joined one of our webinars before, just keep in mind you are going to get these slides emailed to you because you registered. So keep that in mind. Here's the plan for today. We're going to give some brief introductions and talk a little bit about the background of the presenters and what school they are working in, so you kind of have an idea of how that might compare with where you are at. Then we're going to go into details about a PD scavenger hunt related to activities, and also create and share activities PD. So I have to tell you a little backstory here. Originally, when I was planning this session, I had reached out to Anne, one of the presenters, and thought, you should come and share. It was such a great interactive session that you did. I think other tech integrationists would love to hear about it. And then she said, well, actually, Heather did the first part. So you're actually going to get a double dose here, 2 amazing activity PDs that you can take and implement with your teachers. And then we're going to, of course, have time for questions and next steps. So I encourage you, anytime they are presenting, if you have questions, go ahead and type them into the question box, and I will be fielding those until we actually can ask them when they get done presenting. So if we go to the next slide, again, I've already mentioned my name, but I'm Angela. I lead the community team here at Seesaw. I was a kindergarten teacher for 15 years with 5 iPads in my classroom. So we definitely were shared devices, and you can reach out to me on Twitter at Mrs. Gadke. And I am so excited to actually have 2 amazing tech integrationists here with me today. I'm going to let them actually speak for themselves, but I'm going to welcome Anne and Heather, and take it away, ladies.
Hi there. We're very excited to do this today too, to meet with y'all and talk about our experience with teaching teachers about activities. And so I'm Anne Hargrove, and I've taught 11 years in Guatemala and in Texas, and I am currently an instructional technology specialist for Northeast Independent School District here in San Antonio, Texas.
And you can, your Twitter.
Oh, and here's my Twitter below, so please follow us.
Okay, so I'm Heather. I work with Anne. We're both in the same school district, and I was elementary school teacher for about 10 years and then became an instructional technology specialist. And both Anne and I work with elementary schools. We have 4 each, so we get lots of ideas for Seesaw through that. But my Twitter is SA Techie Teacher, so follow me and I'll follow you.
And so we wanted to start off with a little bit of background, just so you kind of know where we're coming from. So we do have a fairly large school district. We actually have 66 campuses. We do have magnet schools, so just because it's actual 66 campuses, we do have more schools. For example, we have a fine arts magnet school. We have a robotics kind of data magnet school. So, but we have 46 elementaries that we actually work with, and like Heather said, we each have 4. I think we have 20 ITSs total for
21.
I think 21 ITSs, instructional technology specialists, for our district. And for Seesaw for Schools, we are in the first year of implementation with all of our elementary schools, and we also have 4 middle schools that have jumped on board with us. So we're really excited to get to use all those extra cool features. And then another thing to tell you about is we are a shared device district. So every campus has kind of roughly they have iPads, Chromebooks, laptops, smart boards, but yeah, every class is different.
Yeah, we're kind of working with everything. Some people have 1 iPad and their whole grade level shares Chromebook cart. Other people have 8 iPads each. I mean, we try to do a PD that kind of incorporates all of that.
And so the other thing, just to tell you where our journey with Seesaw, it kind of started. When did it start? It kind of started with Heather Miller here for our district, because
I love Seesaw,
and she became a Seesaw ambassador.
did.
And then everybody wanted to do it.
Yes. So we started with a pilot campus. I got one of my elementary schools, Hidden Forest, to pilot Seesaw for Schools for 1 year. And the principal really loved the communication between the parents. The teachers were just soaring with it. I mean, we have still those few that are, putting it on their back burner, but we're getting them.
Mhm.
But because so many of those teachers really enjoyed it and the principal did, and they were ready for it to be there next year, we were able to purchase it as a whole district for all of our elementary schools, which has been wonderful. And because of that, we have a lot of middle school principals, one in particular whose daughter-in-law and the grandkids are all in the schools, and she sees Seesaw from that perspective, and she's thinking, why can't we have it in middle school? Let's do it. So so we're getting lots of principals on board and teachers on board, so it's been a great ride so far.
And I'd say the last year or so, we've been giving professional development to teachers for Seesaw, but it was more of, here's your class, here's how you set up a class, here's how you put things in the journal. And so we did a lot of those classes. And then finally this year, since we got it as a district, we decided we need to do some more classes, but this time let's be specific on the new feature of activities. So that's where we're going to start today with part 1 of teaching activities to teachers.
And a lot of our PDs that we try to, implement, teach, we want to kind of do that flip training. I don't know about you guys out there, but for our trainings, when we just stand in front of a crowd and talk to them, it doesn't seem as beneficial. So that's why we kind of created this interactive part. So the goal of this first PD experience was really just this hands-on approach for them to to kind of have the teachers interact with Seesaw as a student. So they were, I had them in grade levels, but if it was just a PD that anybody came to, we kind of just tried to group them in similar grade levels. So maybe, 4 and 5 and 2 and 3 and kinder and first, because this we were just doing for elementary for this one. But so anyway, we grouped them up, we signed them into Seesaw as a student, and we just pretty much kind of gave them an overview and then just let them go. So we're going to go ahead and kind of walk through the different parts of this scavenger hunt and kind of give some tips and tricks to what we're doing. So the first thing that I did was create a Seesaw class, and it says Huebner Superheroes because I made one specific for the campuses I did. When we just did it, which you'll see here in a minute when we dive in, when we did it more for district PD, we just named it Seesaw Superheroes. So it's kind of whatever you want to name it. And we made a student for each kid. So first name is 5th, last name grade, first name for, so on and so forth. So that way when they logged in as a student, they were in as that grade level. And so we made sure to share all the activities before they got in there. So when we started the class, we just said, okay, go to the activities. Here's kind of an overview, and here's what you're going to do. And we, I guess when I was trying to plan out this PD, my mindset was, what are the different components of Seesaw that I want to share with everybody and kind of showcase to them. So there's 6 different activities, and I know there's only 5 pictured right there, but you'll see them on the next page. Okay, there's that one. So then we have avoiding kryptonite, which is where teachers use the drawing tool to draw and explain like the different things. And so, but as I'm explaining this, we're going to go out of it real quick and show you kind of examples of what teachers did. So Anne's going to there we go. Okay. Woo, I'm sorry if I just made you real dizzy. So here's kryptonite. One of the things about the activity as well is that I wanted to kind of pull in all the different tools when they did the activity. So this one's drawing, and so they just drew different tools that would help them avoid the kryptonite of, stress as a teacher. So you can see different things on here. We have candy and flowers and sunshine and all that type of thing. Another one is, another one is the superpower one. And this was really to showcase how the video feature works on Seesaw. So I wanted to make sure that it puts on there, press the pause button in between each person. And a lot of them don't read that part, just as students don't read all the instructions. So we had, there are some hands. So you have some that just passed the camera around. You have some that recorded vertical instead of horizontal. So this was a really great way when we gathered all together at the end, is to show them, okay, here are some tips and tricks when your kids are doing photo or videos, is to pause them so they don't have the shaky camera, to do the horizontal video so that you don't have the black edges. So that's just the video one, the superpower. This one is they are using the note feature, and they're just making an acrostic for their team name. So this one is like incredible, terrific teacher, because they're the ITU. That was very challenging there. But yeah, they just made an acrostic for their team.
And you'll see on this one, we're actually using one of my classrooms, and my students were numbered. I know that Heather said, she had them by grade level, but take this and run with it how you want to. We're just giving suggestions, but that's why you see mine is not written by grade level.
Oh yeah, because you'll see, like in her journal, she has all numbers here and stuff. And that's the thing, is like we kind of just shared it with our team, and then when we did it per campus, we kind of just changed it and made it our own. So this was a picture perfect activity where they had a photo wall, and I just got some photo props and had a superhero background. You do not have to do that as far as like super fancy photo wall, but
they loved it.
But they loved it, and it was so fun. And you can find really any photo wall if you want, but like a number 5. So they have this superhero background, and then on top of it, that's where they use the label tool. So you're teaching them how to do that as well. And they use the label tool to put their team name on there, which is lots of fun. The next one is extraordinary communication, and this is really trying to get them in as a parent so they could see. So when they get in there, they have an announcement that says, I'm gonna go up, like respond to this message with a quick video and what you think. I put in there, what does parent communication mean to you? So it's really, whatever question you think that the training, it would be most beneficial. But that way, when we gathered all back at the end, we were able to show them, oh, look, we sent you a message, but we could have sent it in Spanish. We could have sent it to just one parent instead of everybody. So here's why is the parent communication important? And then they posted it on here. And that's just really for them to see the parent side of it, and for them to see how easy it is for the parents to communicate back and forth with them. And then the other one I have on here, which is not on this one, so I'll go back to the slideshow real quick, is the Lost Superheroes. And so what I did was I printed off a superhero and a Batman, and
we have that. I'll keep talking. I'll find it. I think we have another one.
Okay. I printed off a superhero and a Batman, and I hid them around the school. And then I used a map of the school as the template. And so they were able to go and find, depending on what the clues were, they found, oh, there it is, where it was. So like, for instance, this one says, Superman and his staff work hard to guide you to the right room. So like the staff room or the lounge or whatever. And then workroom. Batman has the key to the board so he can get the mouse. Does that compute? So the computer lab. And then when they go in there, if you'll be able to see they have a map. And so on the map, they were supposed to mark where they found Superman and where they found Batman. And this showed them, as you can see, is the template part. So when we go back and we talk at the end, we can say, okay, when you guys were doing that, that's because you're in the template version and we put something in there for you to click on. So those are the 6 activities. And so for on the next slide, it shows you like the things that we did to kind of get them set up. I linked the Batman and the Superman picture that I used. I just used Pixabay for all these little superhero images, and I really get lots of pictures from Pixabay. But all the pictures that are in the activities currently are from that website. So that's really all that I had printed off, because everything else was digital, and they did everything in Seesaw.
And the map, the only thing is a map, right?
Oh yeah, you got to take a picture of the map, right? And on one of the PDs, I did, like, you'll see it in the tweet that's on the next slide. I had them do it didn't update, but that's okay. I did a puzzle. I'll click on it, I guess. That they did at the end. So after they finished all the activities, they had to come to me. Holy smokes, that's big.
Technical difficulties, sorry. Don't worry, we are technology people. We can figure it out.
We're tech savvy, right? So
there we go.
So
back to normal.
Yeah. But in one of the tweets on there, it shows you where they're doing the puzzle, which is actually the other one. But so
let me go find it. There we go.
There you go. So they're doing this QR code puzzle. So they put the puzzle together and they scanned the QR code, and it gave them like a riddle for them to use, and I gave prizes at the end. So that was my other thing, is not only were we tweeting about it, we encouraged teachers to tweet with their team, but we also had prizes, and it's like super simple prizes. You could do the Seesaw shirt, but we just, gave like Post-it notes or pencils because they were excited to win anything. So that's what I would definitely say to do for that. So because of that training,
I wanted to add one note.
Oh, quick, please, add a note, yeah.
So I attached as well, you'll see right here, this is just a Google Doc that is their notes of what Heather just said.
Okay, yeah.
So if you want to,
because I said a lot.
Because, well, what she did, and it was a good idea. She actually put this together, did it for her campus, and then we're like, hey, let's do this for all the district and do cluster training. So for each high school, all the schools attached to it. And she actually had us do the activity. So we really felt ownership of it because we actually took it ourselves. And then when she was telling us all about it, that's why I want to go back one slide. Right here, if you click on this, then that does link. And we are going to give you, I forgot to mention, we have a link to this presentation. It's on the last slide. So you're going to get this whole presentation, okay? But if you click on this, then you get the notes that I was saying that are just helpful about each one, about no more than 4 people per group. One person's going to be on their laptop as the parent. The materials you need, and again, these are just notes. These are Anne's notes, so take them for what it's worth. But.
Well, and that's the thing, is we kind of just made it our own, depending on what the campus is. So some of my campuses had more than 4 teachers, but I really wanted them to work as a grade level and talk, because some teachers had been doing Seesaw before and some teachers hadn't, and I wanted them to be able to share ideas while they were working. So we put 4 on there, but if you want to put more, that's fine. It does work with more than 4, but 4 is a good number as far as making sure everybody's involved.
Well, I like the better chance to give door prizes. So this is, make sure you have door prizes or food, and they will come. They will come.
Yes, chocolate on the table after school. Yes.
Okay. Done. So now, we talked about that. So now this is part 2 of our Seesaw activities trainings for the district. Again, what we did is have every cluster, every campus participate first as a student, so they understood how activities worked. Then the second thing we did was put together a training that allows the teachers to create activities and really dive into activities. And so this part is for the teachers on their computer, and the goals of it were to, explore.
Hey, can I pause for just a second?
Questions. And you said do questions.
No, it's good. I'm interjecting for just a moment, because before we go into the second portion, I just want to recap quickly and ask just a quick question of Heather. So just so everyone kind of gets this bigger framework of how you approached it, you first started introducing the activity feature to teachers in this very interactive PD session where they were doing the scavenger hunt that Heather just described. And Heather, how much time did you allot for that session?
It was an hour and a half.
Okay.
And really, we tried to squeeze it in an hour, but a lot of the teachers don't get finished with all the activities. So if you do an hour and a half, it gives them time to finish the activities and then kind of like a reflection time at the end. So
perfect. And then after they have had this time to literally explore as a student, doing activities, they're racing around, finding all of these different parts that go to the scavenger hunt. As we go and talk about this second PD, how would you guys describe how much time did they have in between these sessions? Were they, a couple months later, or what would you say as we go into the second part here?
I would say it was probably a couple months later, and that's just because we I did this first session with my campuses, like Ann said, before school started, and then after school started, I'm sharing it with my team, and then I did that training for the team and so they all went and did that first training with their campuses
in like September.
Yeah, in about September,
October.
Yeah. And then we came back and we said, hey, we got to do something more again like this. And so what we did is we kind of broke it into two different ones. We have a ditch the binder one and this activities one that Ann's about to talk about. And so we just kind of created a whole PD madness map of things. So we said, okay, here are multiple campuses at multiple phases and different times and days. So you pick where you're at and go.
And we kind of did those in late October, November.
Yeah, we can share we'll put that on one of the slides, like what our map looked like. Because
that's great. I think it just gives people context here, and as you start to talk about the second PD session that you did related to activities after they've had this experience as a student, they've tried it out, they're working in their classroom with Seesaw on a regular basis, and then here we go, they come to the second PD. So let's learn about this one.
Okay, ready. So as you can see, what we did basically was explore the activities, the libraries, and then we customized or created them for our students. And then at the end, we shared those activities with each other. And as you can see, it basically was whole group modeling, and then we'd let them be independent and then kind of go back and do another one of the tasks that I'm about to show you. So tips for preparing. Okay, let me show you this one. Okay, so the thought process behind this presentation of activities to the teachers, it's not everybody's in the same place when it comes to making activities. And so what we wanted to do was kind of create a session that allowed them to, if someone needed to move farther along or faster, or if some people needed more one-on-one support, because a lot of times we have teachers, like the basis of coming to this presentation was that they had already done part one, that they already had logged into Seesaw, they already have a class, they're already doing things in the journals, and they know what activities are. But I'm sure all of you here have had the time where you're presenting activities, but then you always have somebody that's like, what's Seesaw? So we have to be ready for all of that. So we found the best way to do that was giving them the opportunity to go at their own pace. And so that's where we came up with this. So this is the only slide that I print out when doing this presentation. If we print this out, that way at the top over here, you see the link to the task that the teachers are going to be doing. And that way the teachers can go ahead and log into their computers and they have a digital copy of all of this, and it walks them through each step. So we had them sign in as teachers, and then we had them get together with their grade level, because remember, this is coming from a bunch of different schools. So we had tried to have all the kinders sit by each other, first grade, second grades, so that they could kind of work together and collaborate. And you can see that we kind of pasted out, we had 8 different activities, okay? And the first one was kind of whole groups because we wanted them to later add folders or skills to their activities, but to do that you have to first have folders. And so together we created folders, and I'll go to, let me see. Oh, I'm sorry, let me backtrack a little. This part is actually the presentation for the second one, so you can see it. We put the slide in here so that you can actually take these and put yourself on this slide. And then before I get into the activities, we put this family connection at the beginning because we find the magic is really when we have families attached to these Seesaw classes. We love that it's a great portfolio for the students, but it's really those connections with parents and family that makes this so meaningful and motivating for the kids. And so we start off all of our PDs with discussing the family feature. So we just have them talk as a group. Do you use it? Do you not use it? Why do you use it? Why do you not use it? And then we have a person share out from each table to hear if they're connecting and why they're connecting and the fun experiences that they have with it. And then that's where we talk first about the activities, why teachers use the activities. And this is a video, we're not going to show it, but if any of you have seen Step Brothers, it's really funny and it talks about activities, and they say the word activities about 20 times. So it's just a funny little video to get the group started in a happy place. And then that's where we show them this task card that has all of the tasks on it. And then it's simply, they just, again, right here it says whole group. So you know that you're going to do this with everybody. And we just put in the middle the steps. So we have the icons, we have the steps they're going to do, and then an overview. So this kind of tells here, this is what this task is about. And then if you need help with folders or how to do them and you don't remember after we've taught it to y'all, to the teachers, then we link the videos and I guess the websites from Seesaw that show how to do those steps. And so each task basically looks the same. So the next one is starting out with exploring the Seesaw activity library. And I like doing this because we could start off by just having the teachers make an activity like step 1. Here's how you put the title, step 2. But I like them to go to the Seesaw activity library because then they see what a good activity looks like. And they have likes, right? Like we'll say a certain number of likes. And so we try to go to those as good examples so they see kind of how it's laid out, how it has icons, the shortcut icons, instead of all the writing that I guess that it has voice instructions, right? Everything that just makes it a good activity. And so from there, we let them pick some, and then we have them put it into their My Library by liking it.
Well, and that's one thing that we, whether it's in a PD or not, that's kind of where we just in general try to start with teachers is just go browse the activity library. And then, not of them don't notice that they have a school library to save it into as well, not just their library. So just starting it, so like Ann said, so that they can see other activities and what you can do in them, and not just a picture or a simple thing. But.
And then that's where we just kind of model this part, like task 3 and 4. We kind of just show them how to do that. We demonstrate it, and then we leave them on their own to start doing these different things, different tasks. And that way it frees us up to walk around and answer those questions like a teacher, how do I get a class? I mean, it's all kinds of questions. It's not just about activities, which we're teaching, which we understand, but so that way it frees us up. And so they're able to continue on, and we're not slowing down to try to answer each person's question. Of course, sometimes somebody in the group will have a valid or an excellent question that we'll say to everybody afterwards, when we come back together. But we just found it's more successful when you do it like this. And so then we come back together and we do, I think that's where we did to organize the work and put the skills on it. Sharing the activities, we told them all the different ways to do it, that you can get the link and teachers can put it in the lesson plans. We tell them all the different ways to share them with the classes, with the students, and with teachers. And then we showed them, obviously, the scheduling an activity, which they really love. And then the last slide here is, this was our bonus task. A lot of people didn't get this far. But what it is basically take your curriculum that your district has. So, all of our departments have a ton of resources. And so what we did is just take it. So it's like this one, for example, was a PowerPoint that we have for kinder learning about objects in the sky. Well, instead of just showing it on a PowerPoint, let's make it an activity. So we showed them how to seesawify our curriculum. And then after that, after everybody had time working, again, this was an 1.5-hour training, and not everybody finished every task. It could be broken up into a part 2 and 3, I guess, after our part 1. But afterwards, we came back together so people could show what they created. And then after that, we always tell them that Seesaw has an excellent help center. And if you have any questions, of course, they can always ask us, the ITSs, but that there are great resources that y'all have with easy instructions. And we told them about your PDs, and then also the Seesaw communities. And so a lot of our teachers have Facebook, and so they've joined their different groups to learn more about different things, activities for their specific grade level. And I think that was basically it.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys caught that, but when Ann was walking through that, it's literally, you guys can copy those slides that she just went through and just put them in your own slideshow and use them for that PD. For mine, the first one that we talked about, it's all in Seesaw. All the activities are in there, so I didn't really present anything except I showed the screen of what they did at the end. But hers, you have those different slideshows, so you can walk through the different task cards.
And here is the presentation link that we said to this one that we just did that had part 1 and 2 together. And then on that task card I had right here, this is the other part that you'll see. And you'll get this access to this. It was on this slide right here. But when you do it yourself, you'll get this, and then you want to put your own link in there. So that's why I didn't keep the link in. But we also put some teacher notes down here. So hopefully it'll help with not teacher notes, but presenter notes. So some notes, these notes are kind of for you when you're presenting it to your teachers.
Okay, so yeah. Are there any questions, Angela, on the chat?
Well, I'll open it up to questions, but I'm just going to summarize a little bit. So in session two, again, you probably had, it sounds like you had about 90 minutes, and this was, again, a face-to-face session. But I think a lot of what you even shared with the task cards could be something that you even segment into smaller chunks even, or share some other way with teachers as well. But I like the idea of you were really intentional about trying to meet teachers where they were. So you had a way to do some things whole group and model, and then you had these individual, basically, task cards that they could follow. And maybe you want to go back to just that image so they kind of get that first image where you kind of have it all on one page, so they can see the visual of the different tasks that they're going to be going through, and get an idea of what's whole group versus what's independent with kind of the teachers at their table as well. And I think what's also exciting is that some of these things are very simple in the sense of, like, let's learn how to do this, and it's going to happen very, very quickly. And other things, you know, they could go on and on. They could be when they're customizing activity, maybe they're customizing 5 activities for those that are already ready for that. So I like that flexibility that you have built in here, and I love that everyone that's watching and attending is going to benefit from all of your amazing hard work, and we can help each other really create situations where we're meeting teachers where they're at, but also hopefully inspiring them and supporting them as they get going in their classroom as well. So those of you that are here, feel free to type in questions. And one of the questions coming in from Karen, and I'm guessing that this probably varies from building to building where you're at, but do they have regular Chromebooks or Chromebooks with a tablet option?
Right now, we only have Chromebooks, no tablet option right now, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, we don't have the even like fancy Chromebooks. They're just like there's no touch screens or anything like that. So we talked to them about how to take pictures on the Chromebook and record and that sort of thing, but they don't have they can't draw on it or any of that. So.
Right.
Our district tried to, when we passed bonds and got iPads, we tried to make sure each classroom had at least 3 iPads. And then the campuses began purchasing more iPads for their classes and Chromebooks. And so we kind of favor a little bit more maybe the iPads with the little ones because it's easier for them to kind of write with their fingers and cut and paste and select like that. But
and the draw and record feature, I think, is what gets teachers to use the iPads more because they want them to explain and draw at the same time. But we have a lot of teachers, upper grades, that use Chromebooks and they're good.
All right. So Emily has a question. Maybe you can tell a little bit about how Seesaw is working out in your middle schools.
So far right now, it's I would say it's a little bit slow going for the middle schools because a lot of them didn't start at the beginning of the year. They started, I don't know, November, December is when we were really, a lot of elementary ITSs were going and helping our middle school ITSs, training them. And so right now we have some teachers using it and incorporating it, with Google Classroom and that sort of thing. And that's really what we showed them is that we want them to take what they're already using and just upload it into this online journal. So
more engaging.
Yeah, it's more engaging.
But everybody already knows that, right? That's obvious. We know we're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah. But so that's it. We don't have a lot of activity going on in the middle schools yet, except there are a few teachers that have taken it and ran with it. So I think for us, it's just, we don't have a lot of examples right now, but at the end of the year, we're going to kind of get together and see what worked and what didn't work. So
yes, and just so you know, we at our last meeting as instructional technology specialists, we kind of talked about where we're going with Seesaw for our district. And next thing I think we were trying to talk about was maybe going to quality of activities, right? Because it's not and when we talk about SAMR and being on that level of, are we just substituting or are we having the students really, make something and create? And so that's where we're going next is, yes, we're happy now you know how to do this, but now let's take it up a notch and make lessons much more meaningful through Seesaw.
And that's our next PD.
Yep, that's our
yes. Can you go to the slide that shares your contact information again for those people that are here? I've had that question a couple times. How can I get in contact with these amazing ladies? They'll show kind of at the beginning. But if you are here live and you have other questions, go ahead and ask them now. And we, of course, appreciate all your time stopping by. So if you do have questions specifically for Ann and Heather, I'm sure they would be more than excited to answer them and support you as you get started as well.
So